Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. I'm Katrine
I'm
and
Chloe.
Chloe, and today we're going to talk about creating a brand that sticks for your company. If you haven't met us before, we are with Easy Marketing, and you have our contact information here. And if you have questions, just put those in the chat, and we will take a look at them. When it comes to making a brand memorable, and it will equip you with practical strategies to create consistency, authenticity, emotional, engaging brand. And how do we do all of that across all marketing channels? So that's what we're going to look at today. So let's check for add a lot of brands, a few brands here today, and see if you recognize them. So you are welcome to play along by guessing in the chat box. We will start with just a sound. Can you guess what brand this is? And write that in the chat. Do we have anyone? I see someone here saying soda. Yes, that is really close, but we're looking for a brand. So let's take a look at the next image here. And yes, it is a soda, but we are looking for a brand. So what do you think here? So did the sound help you? This image takes you closer. Now we're just going to take an outline. We're just going to look at their the bottles they are using, and of course now you can see that this is Coca-Cola. So just the sound itself and then the outline of the bottle have made such an impression that on all of us, so we know right away that this is the brand Coca-Cola. So that's really good marketing and good branding. Let's look at another thing here. We're just going to look at two colors. What is this brand? Anyone can guess? We did this webinar a week ago, and that was right when the basketball finals were. So people might think it was the basketball team from New York. But this, if you live in Florida and is just a little bit interested in football, you're going to know that this is the Gators. What about when the TV comes up or you see an ad like this? What is this brand? Does that give you an idea what brand this is? They usually have brands on TV and they don't put up their company name until a little bit in here. Last Christmas, they had this one. And of course, now you can see his tag on here. So this brand, even without the name, is Target.
Yeah.
So they are very, very good at creating branding for their product. So we know what it is even before we see their logo. But when we talk about logo, brand is so much more. So understand the elements of branding is important because brand versus logo, your brand is not your logo, it's the feeling people have about you and your company. So here is the sticky brand formula. We start with emotions, connecting through values and stories, not the features. And differentiation. How does your brand stand out with clear, unique voice? Repetition, consistency, and consistency. It is that consistently build your recognition over time with the same message, tone, and look across all the different platforms. So building your brand foundation is the object here is to craft the brand personality, the tone, the promise that guides all marketing. So let's see. Define your brand essence. Why do you exist as a company? And where the vision? Where are you going? What's the value you offer? What do you stand for? And what's the personality? That's the human traits your brand would have if it had a personality. And then clarify your audience. Who are they? What do they care about? What problem do you solve for them? And then with this, you craft your brand promise. A simple, memorable statement that captures your unique value. So let's take a look, and Chloe, we are looking at Nike and Starbucks.
So this is an overview of mission statement, vision, values, personality for Nike and Starbucks, which are two very different companies, and you can tell with their mission and vision. So their mission statement for Nike is to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. And if you have a body, you are an athlete. The mission statement for Starbucks is to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time. The vision for Nike is to remain the most authentic, connected, and distinctive brand in sports. And the vision for Starbucks is to establish Starbucks as the premier purveyor of the finest coffee while maintaining uncompromising principles. As far as personality for Nike is bold, empowering, competitive, energetic, and fearless. For Starbucks, it's warm, friendly, community oriented, and welcoming. So they both kind of give you the feel of what they are, and that's what you want to do for your brand. So now it's time to look at a few examples of kind of building that brand look. And this is something that we do that for all of our clients called a branding board. So these are just a few examples. This one is ours. This has all of our colors, our fonts, our brand descriptors, our goals. This is for another one where it has the same things and all the different types of logos that we would use. So here's like a longer overview. Let's take a closer look. On the top here, we have the main logo. Then it comes the variations of the logos where it depends on where we are using those logos. And then we have these certain typefaces. And then the color palette is an important and exact list. Think the Florida Gators like we showed earlier, only the exact color is good enough. And then for clients where we manage their social media, we also include hashtags. This is just like a broad overview of some pinpointed hashtags that work well for this company. We wouldn't use all of these in a caption, but use a few here and there. And then the brand descriptors from mission, values, vision, etc. is what we have over here on the right. So here's an example of how we use all the four different social media platforms for Keystone Engineering, and we make sure to use the correct logo size on each of them. So, for social media purposes and printing, you want to have different types of logos to use for different types of things. And then we have in Canva where we load in this brand board that we can use interchangeably throughout. So here we have Keystones and we have all of their colors in there. We have all of the different types of logos that we would use. You can upload pictures in there. You can upload the QR codes in there as well. And we will use these on designs, which I'll show you in a second. So here we have templates. There's millions of templates in Canva. And for Keystone Engineering, they're an engineering construction company. So I just typed in construction and I picked a template that I want to use, but I want to make it go towards Keystone's branding. So we pick the coming soon, and then I pull up the Keystone branding board and I have all of the colors. There are three main colors and then the rest of our color palette that I can use. And we also have the fonts in there that we use. So all I have to do is I can shuffle through these three main colors. If I want to, I can also shuffle through the color palette and just see which one I like the most, but make it Keystone branded without doing much work. And then pulling in the logo. So this is the logo that we use on most of their social media because we typically put it at the top or the bottom in the middle. This way it works for both Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, and the reason we're using Canva as an example is that most of you are using that nowadays, and if you're not, you should probably take a look and see if that could be useful for you. But and today we're talking about branding, so we can't emphasize enough the use of this branding feature. The branding feature, if you look to the left, it has a little crown to it. That means that that is part of their paid version. But hopefully you can afford $10 a month to have a really, really good tool. Because anytime you are going to use a logo, you have already uploaded them here in all the different versions, and you have the colors. So so you probably know what you're doing, but if you have someone helping you, you can always say, this is the branding kit we are using. Here are the logos you can use. You cannot use any other logos that you crop from somewhere else. And here are the colors. So yeah, Chloe.
So just in a few simple steps, we went from a basic template to something that when we post on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, people will recognize it as Keystone because we've been consistently using the same colors, the same logo, and just the same branding as a whole.
Yeah, and yes, talk a little bit more about logos because if you're getting started, we just talked about that branding is so much more, but it is a very important part. So, and a lot of startup companies or companies wanting to redesign, they use some kind of service getting their logos done. And I just wanted to give you some information about logos. So we already talked about we have the different versions depending on where we're going to use them. But we also very often want to have some kind of logo on more or less any of our social media posts, but we don't want it big and kind of in your face. So therefore, we are creating the black and white versions that we can minimize and make very small in a corner. So we still kind of have a logo stamp on there, just like Nike always have the little swoosh in every little corner. You can do the same thing as long as you save them like that. And if you are ordering a logo from somewhere, you need to make sure that you do get all of those variations. And people often ask, what kind of files do I know here? So when you order a new logo, you should have the full logo with an icon and text that complete your logo. Very often you do have some kind of tagline and make sure that is part of what they create, because sometimes you just want the logo and sometimes you want the tagline that often shows right underneath it. And we already looked at the icon only And then because you need sometimes you use the horizontal layout, but sometimes you also need a stacked one, especially when it comes to social media. You usually have a little round circle where you have to fit your logo, and by having a stacked one, it's really going to help you fit in your logo even if the size is really small. So we are going to look at a couple of examples. I'm going to give the word to you, Chloe, to talk about different things we have done for our clients where the brand really shows up.
So here we have On Par, and remind me what this company is, Katrine. I think this
and you can see that on the tagline. So their logo, I had to take a cough tablet here. It's their name, and she wanted that little flower thing underneath. But then the tagline is homemaker and companion services.
So
yeah.
we do lots of different things for clients where we use their logo. These are business cards and then just some letterheads, envelopes, postcards.
That's a threefold flyer.
A threefold websites, magnets for cars, and logos on t-shirts. And then we have another company, TechRes. This is a chemical company. We do a lot of brochures for them because they are constantly changing. Letterhead.
These are stickers that goes on the drums and the containers with the materials. And we create slide decks for them for their management team so they can just have it ready, custom made with their colors, with their theme. We are, of course, putting this on social media as well, the different social media platforms, and we do big backdrops. We did this backdrop 3 years ago, and we just created one that they used a few weeks back. So we have created a brand checkup. It is kind of a self-audit. So later on today, you're going to get a follow-up email to this webinar, and it's going to have this link where you can download this checklist and yes, visually take a look at all your platform and take a look if your messaging reflects your values, and take a look if the tone you are using is authentic and works with the audience you have for your product, and see if you can start to describe your brand in one sentence. So do we have any questions? We have a little bit of time today. It was a quick webinar. I don't see anything coming in right now. So then we would like you to join us for our upcoming SCORE webinar. And we are coming back in August. We take in July off. And that's when we are going to look at how you can engage prospective customers online. And in September, we are looking at the Google Business Profile and how you can use and set that up and use that to grow your business. And I clicked on the wrong button. Let's see here. And then in October, we are going to look at holiday marketing. So here is our contact information again. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. And we hope to see you again in 2 months. Yeah. Thank you so much for today.
Thank you.